story begins on a cold October evening. Sarah Chen, a food blogger, receives an exclusive invitation to La Dernière Table, a mysterious restaurant that has no website, no social media, and no reviews. The invitation arrives as a handwritten letter on aged parchment, inviting her to dine alone at table 13. Intrigued and excited for unique content, Sarah accepts. The letter includes only an address in the old district of the city, a date, and a single line. Come hungry, leave satisfied. When Sarah arrives at the address, she finds herself in front of a narrow Victorian building wedged between two abandoned warehouses. The restaurant's sign is barely visible, just a brass plate with an engraved fork and knife crossed like bones. She enters through heavy wooden doors. Inside, the restaurant is dimly lit by candles. Red velvet covers the walls. Crystal chandeliers hang low, their prisms catching the flickering light. But something is wrong. The restaurant is completely empty. No other diners, no sounds from the kitchen, just silence. A maître d' appears from the shadows. He's tall, impossibly thin, wearing a perfectly tailored suit from another era. His smile doesn't reach his eyes. "Miss Chen," he says without her introducing herself. "We've been expecting you. Table 13 is ready." He leads her through the empty dining room. As they walk, Sarah notices the other tables are set for dinner. Fresh flowers, polished silverware, filled wine glasses, as if guests just vanished mid-meal. She tries to ask about other diners, but the maitre d' simply repeats, "Table 13 is ready." The table sits in a corner, partially hidden by a burgundy curtain. A single candle burns in the center. The chair faces the wall, which is covered in old photographs, hundreds of them, all showing the same restaurant through different decades. Sarah sits down, her phone ready to document everything for her blog. The maitre d' hands her a menu. It has no prices, just dish names written in elegant script. Memories of childhood, the taste of first love, regret aged 20 years, the flavor of your deepest fear. Before Sarah can question the strange menu, a waiter appears, different from the maitre d', younger but with the same unsettling quality. His movements are too smooth, too precise. He places a covered silver dish before her without a word and vanishes. Sarah lifts the cover. The first course appears to be a simple soup, golden and steaming. But as she looks closer, she sees images swirling in the liquid. Her childhood home, her mother's face, her first bicycle. She's mesmerized. Without thinking, she takes a spoonful. The taste is overwhelming. She's instantly transported. She can feel the sun on her 6-year-old face, smell her mother's perfume, hear her father's laughter. It's so real, so vivid, that tears stream down her face. The memory is more intense than when she actually lived it. When the sensation fades, Sarah realizes 10 minutes have passed. The soup bowl is empty. She doesn't remember eating it. Her phone is on the table, but when she tries to check it, the screen won't turn on. The battery is dead, even though it was fully charged. The photographs on the walls seem different now. In some of them, she swears she can see faces she recognizes, people from her past, people she's forgotten. In one photo from what looks like the 1950s, she sees a woman wearing the same necklace her grandmother left her. But that's impossible. The waiter returns with the second course. This time the dish contains what looks like a perfectly seared piece of fish on a bed of dark greens. But the smell is intoxicating. It smells like her first love's cologne, mixed with rain and old books. The taste of first love, she remembers from the menu. Against her better judgment, because now she's starting to feel uneasy, she takes a bite. Immediately, she's 16 again, feeling that first kiss, that first heartbreak, every emotion amplified beyond reality. The intensity is almost painful. She wants to stop, but her hand keeps bringing the fork to her mouth. When she finishes, she looks at her reflection in the knife. Her face looks older, just slightly but noticeably. There are lines around her eyes that weren't there an hour ago. Sarah tries to stand, to leave, but her legs won't move. The maitre d' appears beside her. "You haven't finished your meal, Miss Chen. It would be terribly rude to leave now." His voice is kind, but there's steel underneath. Besides, You came here hungry. We promised you would leave satisfied. Sarah's fear is now turning to panic. She looks around the empty restaurant and notices something she missed before. On every table, under the white tablecloths, are bulges, shapes, as if something is hidden beneath each one. One of the tablecloths moves slightly, as if whatever is underneath took a breath. "What is this place?" Sarah demands. "Why am I the only person here?" The maitre d' smiles that cold smile again. "You're not the only person here, Miss Chen. Everyone who has ever dined at La Dernière Table is still here. They're part of the establishment now, part of the menu." He gestures to the photographs on the wall. Sarah looks closer and realizes with horror that some of the photos are recent. She recognizes modern clothing, smartphones on tables, contemporary hairstyles. These aren't all old photographs. Some are from last week, last month, last year. "Every dish you eat," the maitre d' continues, walking slowly around the table, "takes something from you. A memory becomes our ingredient. An emotion becomes our seasoning. Time itself becomes the garnish. You trade pieces of yourself for the most exquisite tastes imaginable. The third course arrives, the main course. It's a dish of meat in a dark sauce, surrounded by roasted vegetables that gleam like jewels. The smell is incredible. It smells like every comfort, every joy, every moment of peace she's ever experienced. "Regret, aged 20 years, the waiter announces, with a reduction of missed opportunities and a side of roads not taken. Sarah shakes her head. "I won't eat it. I want to leave. Now." The maitre d' leans close. "You accepted our invitation. You broke bread in our establishment. The meal must be completed. These are very old rules, Miss Chen. Older than this building, older than this city. When you dine with us, you dine until we are satisfied." Sarah looks at the dish. She knows she shouldn't eat it, but the smell is pulling her in. And underneath her fear there's curiosity. What does regret taste like when it's been aged for 20 years? What would it feel like to taste the roads she didn't take? Her hand moves to the fork. She cuts a piece of the meat, just a small piece, just a taste. The moment it touches her tongue, she's overwhelmed. She experiences every regret simultaneously. The job she didn't take, the relationship she let slip away, the words she never said to her dying grandfather. But it's not just her regrets. She's tasting other people's regrets too. Decades of them, centuries of them, the accumulated weight of human remorse. When she comes back to herself, she's sobbing. The plate is empty. Her hands are shaking. And when she touches her face, she can feel more wrinkles. Her hair has streaks of gray that weren't there before. She's aged years in minutes. "What have you done to me?" Sarah's voice is hoarse, older. The maitre d' sits down across from her, a presumptuous act that shows she's no longer a guest. Not really. "We've given you exactly what you wanted. Unique experiences. Taste no one else can describe. Isn't this what you sought? The rare, the exclusive, the undiscovered?" Sarah tries to remember why she came here. Her food blog. But when she tries to remember specific posts, specific recipes, the memories are hazy, eaten away, consumed. "The photographs," she says, looking at the wall. "Who are these people?" "Diners like you. Food critics, adventurers, the curious, the greedy. They all came seeking something special, and they found it. Each meal they ate gave us more ingredients for the next. Their memories, their emotions, their life force. It all goes into our dishes. It's a very sustainable model, really. Nothing goes to waste." Sarah looks at the photographs again with new understanding. They're not just photos. They're graves, markers. Each face represents someone who ate here and never left. Someone whose essence was consumed, course by course, until nothing remained but an image on the wall. She can see them now, in the shadows between the candles. Translucent figures, waiting tables, preparing dishes in the unseen kitchen. They're not alive, but they're not exactly dead either. They're ingredients. They're the restaurant itself. "There's one course left," the maitre d' says, standing. "Dessert, the final dish." The waiter appears with a small plate. On it sits a single, perfect chocolate truffle. It's beautiful, glossy and dark, dusted with gold leaf. It smells like every birthday cake, every celebration, every sweet moment of childhood joy. The flavor of your deepest fear, the maitre d' says softly. Paradoxically sweet, you'll find. Because your deepest fear, Miss Chen, is not having lived fully. And this truffle contains all the life you might have lived, all the experiences you missed while documenting other people's meals for strangers on the internet. Sarah stares at the truffle. She understands now. This is the final course. If she eats it, she'll become like the others, a ghost, a photograph, an ingredient. Her life will be completely consumed, and the restaurant will feed on her essence for decades to come. But if she doesn't eat it, what happens if I refuse? She asks. The maitre d' tilts his head. No one has ever refused dessert, Miss Chen. But theoretically, you would leave here having eaten most of your meal. You would return to your life, aged with your memories half gone, your emotions dulled. You would spend the rest of your days feeling like something is missing, chasing a taste you can never quite remember but can never quite forget. Is that really preferable? Sarah looks at the chocolate truffle, then at the photographs, then at her hands, older now, marked by time that passed in minutes. She thinks about her life outside, her tiny apartment, her mediocre blog, her lukewarm relationships. Has she really lived? Or has she spent her whole life consuming other people's experiences, documenting other people's joy, chasing the next unique thing to post about? The truffle gleams in the candlelight. It would be so easy. One bite and all the questions would end. One bite and she would finally know what it means to live fully, even if that knowledge comes at the moment of her dissolution. Her hand reaches for it, but then she sees something in one of the photographs. A woman from the 1980s, judging by the clothing. The woman is sitting at a table, a dessert in front of her. But unlike all the other photos, this woman isn't eating. She's looking directly at the camera, directly at Sarah across 40 years, and she's shaking her head. No. Sarah pulls her hand back. No, she says out loud. I won't eat it. The maitre d's expression hardens. You must complete the meal. You said theoretically someone could refuse. That means it's possible. I refuse. The temperature in the restaurant drops. The candles flicker. The ghost diners in the shadows press closer, their translucent faces hungry and desperate. The maitre d' stands taller than before, his shadow stretching impossibly across the walls. You must complete the meal. Sarah stands too, her aged legs trembling. I refuse. I've paid enough. I'm leaving. She starts walking toward the door. Every step is difficult. It feels like walking through water, through time itself. The ghosts reach for her, trying to hold her back. She can hear them whispering, "Stay. Join us. It's better here. You don't have to face the world. You don't have to live." But she keeps walking, past the empty tables with their hidden shapes beneath, past the photographs of the consumed, past the maitre d', who watches with eyes that burn with cold fire. She reaches the heavy wooden door. It's locked. Of course it's locked. Behind her, the maitre d' laughs. You cannot leave until the meal is complete. Those are the rules. Sarah turns back, and in her aged eyes there's something the restaurant hasn't seen in a very long time. Defiance. Then I'll make my own rules. She grabs a candle from the nearest table and throws it onto the velvet curtains. They catch immediately, flames racing up the fabric. The restaurant screams, a sound that comes from the walls themselves, from every ghost, from every consumed soul. In the chaos, the door swings open. Sarah runs out into the night, into the cold October air. She runs until her lungs burn, until she's blocks away, until she collapses against a lamppost in a normal street with normal people. When she catches her breath and looks back, the narrow Victorian building is gone. In its place is just an empty lot, overgrown with weeds. A sign says Future Development Site. Sarah touches her face. The wrinkles are still there. The gray in her hair remains. Her phone is still dead. She's lost years of her life, memories she'll never recover, emotions she'll never feel quite as strongly again. But she's alive. She escaped. She refused the final course. As she walks home through the city streets, Sarah notices other empty lots, other narrow spaces between buildings where something might once have stood. How many restaurants like La Dernière Table are there? How many diners are still sitting at tables in places that don't quite exist, eating meals that consume them course by course? She doesn't know, but she knows she'll never accept another mysterious invitation. She'll never chase the unique, the exclusive, the undiscovered quite the same way. Sometimes she thinks it's better to eat at a place with reviews, even bad ones. 1 year later, Sarah finds a letter in her mailbox, handwritten on aged parchment. It's another invitation, this time to a place called The Final Bite. She looks at it for a long moment, then she tears it in half and throws it away. As she walks back inside, she doesn't see the pieces reassemble themselves in the trash can. She doesn't see the new invitation that will arrive tomorrow, or the next day, or the day after that, because La Dernière Table always completes its meals, even if it takes years, even if it takes decades. The restaurant is patient, and it's still hungry.